So it's here, the first official day of Brexit, and I'm doing this before, but ultimately, welcome to Brexit Britain officially, guys, and to all the Brexiteers out there, you've won a quote victory, but you've won nothing. And as we said yesterday, the deal that you have brought before, the UK is not a good deal, and if anything, all it's going to do is promote more integration, because a Labour government is going to pursue closer ties with the EU. And without the baggage of the ERG, any pro-business Tory, because UK businesses are going to level for no tariffs and no friction, because that's what people do not want, they are going to push for more closer integration. And all this does is just push us back towards the EU. And, Brexit ultimately will just prove to be pointless. It was just an exercise in wishful thinking and an attempted fantasy fulfillment, because none of these promises that the Leave campaign or even the unofficial campaign can ever really be fulfilled. We read just yesterday the thing of the former miners, and the reason they voted for it, they wanted for their areas to get better. Well, the Tories aren't certainly going to do that, and as I reminded you all yesterday, the only organisation that actually invested in your areas was the EU. Like it or not, the EU has benefited this country so many ways, and we are going to start to see now just how much we actually needed the EU and the benefits it brought for us being part of that. Because Boris and co are going to try and prove as much as they possibly can any of the possible Brexit outcomes that they want, they're not really going to be true, because at worst it's going to be a massive lie, and well, at its worst it's just going to be another lie. It's going to be a half-truth or just a complete lie. That's the situation that we're in. So, we're just going to go back today to Yorkshire, because I've talked before about, if you're a Yorkshire business, your closest port is really going to be Hull. And even this is, the ferry services over there have started to level down. And we're going to get into that article now. So before we do that, please do remember to hit that like and share button. And of course, down below there's a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link. And thank you very much to the people who do support me that way. Support is very much appreciated. Now, on with this. So this comes from the Yorkshire Bylines. And the title is, As Brexit Approaches, Yorkshire's ferry services start to level down. Last week, P&O announced the permanent closure of its passenger service from Hull to Zeebrugge. Zeebrugge, I think that's how you say it. Effective from the 1st of January. The service was a major tourist route, and its closure leaves the Rotterdam route as Hull's only ferry link with mainland Europe. The government had provided some 6.6 million support to the two routes over recent times, but that has not done enough to persuade P&O from closing the Zeebrugge route. The service is a blow to the economy, not only for Hull, but for the region as a whole. It will make it much more difficult for millions of tourists from mainland Europe to visit the region, as well as limiting trading options. The company has blamed the coronavirus pandemic for its decision, but it is perfectly understandable that, at its present, the route is heavily loss-making. But it is extremely depressing that the government, which is pumping billions into maintaining rail services, is not prepared to spend a relatively small amount needed to keep the service going. As a result, the region will lose out from not only tourist revenue, but also economic costs, as well as the pandemic start to ease. I also have a question down for an oral answer in the Lords on our first day back in January, to ask the Minister whether the government will even, at this late stage, provide the financial support that could enable P&O to keep the route open. To do so would be a small signal that the government understands what is required to breathe life into the quote levelling up agenda, but I'm not holding my breath. Whilst the government's unwillingness to act is depressing, it is equally frustrating that the lack of political and fiscal devolution to the region means that there is no regional body that could step in and make the necessary funds available. It should be for Yorkshire to decide where it wants to spend public money and support such a service, not a bureaucrat in London. It is the classic example of why we need full regional devolution. Until we do, Yorkshire's economy and well-being is going to remain well below its potential. And I completely 100% agree. I've talked before about the stories in Hull, how you actually have to get to the port itself. You have to go through the city centre, and come today, well, it may not happen today, but there will be delays, and then Hull becomes gridlocked, and that could cause other huge economic disasters of which we haven't seen for quite some time. But these are the things that are going to affect Yorkshire for some time to come. And I have talked before, I am a fan of devolution. When we had our own referendum on what we want of what we're calling the One Yorkshire Plan, or do we go for what is called the Sheffield City Region? And the Sheffield City Region option won. Well, not the Sheffield Region, the One Yorkshire option won. But we have Sheffield City Region and even a mayor, my own MP, Dan Jarvis, mayor of the Sheffield City Region. So, what on earth has happened? Well, you may have to go back maybe a couple of years ago, but I did this whole video on just about, even though pretty much all of Yorkshire seems to agree with the one devolution deal and is prepared to do it, Sheffield, Rotherham seem to be complete outholds. Like, they had a meeting about this. They actually had an inter-council meeting on this, and out of, I think it was like 80 councils and like local authorities, I think it's like 5 didn't turn up, and one of those was Sheffield and Rotherham. And you're like, and this was after the very clear victory the One Yorkshire proposal had actually won. So, like I say, I do hope regional devolution does come ahead, but I'm not holding my breath, because, quite frankly, we've seen from this government a very much an attempt to try and centralise even more and more stuff. And even though Dominic Cummings is gone, the man who was driving that, I very, very much doubt that they will try and do that. Because, for the pure reason, what if we get a Yorkshire Assembly that is run by Labour? What if this Labour-run regional Yorkshire Assembly starts to actually put in policies and the things that actually work to start making the region better? Other places might go, maybe Labour has the right idea all along, and start to put them in. Of course, they're not going to do it. And to prove my point, currently there are a lot of Conservative MPs in the quote the red wall seats who are sitting on them very, very unnervingly, because they know beneath them there is a council parish, a local authority, a metropolitan borough, you name the local authority type you want, that is predominantly Labour. And they know that they are getting their behinds constantly set on fire by these councils, and and it's not good. They've actually made moves to try and limit the number of them, and that is not going to be good. But as always, we have to continuously just wait and see what happens. But now Brexit has officially happened, so congratulations, Brexiteers. Today's the day you can start officially trying to chart Brexit's success. And I wish you well, but as we said yesterday, all the observable economics and what people want to do, they want less frictional tariffs. They do not want barriers. UK businesses are going to lobby for that exact thing, which is going to mean more integration, which will then ask the question, why did we leave in the first place? Why not just rejoin? And that is the question that we will constantly ask on this channel and constantly push for rejoining the EU. So, as always, thanks for watching. Please do remember to hit that like and share button on the way out. And of course, down below, there is a link to my Patreon page as well as a one-off donation link. And thank you very much to the people who do support me that way. And as always, we'll see you all next time.